Please. My work sister would knock the shit out of you if one of us like tried to get with them, you know what I mean? Because it just wasn't like that.
Roll me, Mac.
What do you remember life was like before talking to girls and women? Well, I remember it being nothing but video games, cartoons, TV shows. There was no giddy feelings. There was no anxiety, anxious, feeling like you weren't good enough, putting girls on pedestals, those types of feelings. So life before that was merely just trying to just essentially hang with the homies, just kick it with your friends and do, and have similar interests. We're into whatever it was, G.I. Joe, whether it was Transformers, it was the Captain Planet, if it was Ninja Turtles, for sure. Definitely Ninja Turtles, man. And going to each other's houses, seeing whose parents got them like all the accessories that were big at the time. So at my house, there was the blimp. My parents got me the Ninja Turtle blimp. I think that was Christmas of '91, perhaps. Same when I got my Ultimate Warrior wrestling buddy from my grandma. And I think we were in Cuba. So Christmas of '91. But the Ninja Turtle blimp, I had the Ninja Turtle van. Yeah, I had a Ninja Turtle van. I think I jacked up a door or something on it, but I had a Ninja Turtle van. And so, we would go to different houses, and I remember going to my godbrother's house, Lily. Lily had the entire fucking sewer, and I think he had a Technodrome, so like, we thought he was hot shit. Me and my cousin, Richard, actually, when we were younger, we went to visit my Aunt Coco in Norfolk, and, which is godmother or whatever. And we go and, we're up there, and Lily's like being selfish, like being a kid, like you can't play with my toys type shit. And I'm like, yeah, we playing with this shit. You got the Technodrome and the sewer. So there was, that's really what I remember life being. I don't want to get too much in on that situation. It's not really relevant to what the point that I'm making. But the point that I'm making is that before talking to girls, before trying to set up dates, before trying to find out if she likes you, you like her, and all this other shit, it was about just focusing on things that you were actually interested in. And not saying you're not interested in girls, but what I'm saying is that before that part of your life, that switch turns on, it is about literally just having the things that bring you joy. and in a sense of like you don't need anybody else type thing. Granted, you might have other friends and things, like just hanging with your friends watching, like I said, just watching TV, whether it's, you know, Power Rangers or VR Troopers, Biker Mice from Mars, wrestling. Yes, really, that was life. It was waking up every day, learning how to be a wrestler, fighting, you know, play fighting and shit like you were a Ninja Turtle. I'm Leonardo. No, I'm Donatello and Michelangelo because he eat pizza and likes to have fun. Those things were going on back then. It was about just being in the imagination. That's what I remember, at least for me and my experience with life before I, you know, got bit by the bug of like being into girls. And so there was cartoons. I would watch a ton of cartoons, Looney Tunes for sure. I used to eat Salisbury steak TV dinners. That used to be like my go-to when we were in Cuba. There was this game show that used to come on with Michael Mara as the host. I forget what it's called. I don't know if it's called Think Fast or something like that. But that would come on at 7. Looney Tunes would come on at 7:30. And I did not miss that. You know, I had the TV. Mom would make sure the TV dinners was good. It's crazy what you remember, photographic memory and stuff like that. But I would do that. That's really what life was. My room was filled with nothing but, you know, wrestling men and Ninja Turtles. I was, you know, my friends would come over the house. We would play Nintendo. And what did we play on Nintendo? Ninja Turtles. Everything was about them damn turtles. Birthday parties, the cake from Ninja Turtle, the Mario Brother cake. And I think one time I shared it with this kid named Montreal. And Montreal's birthday, I think, is like the day after mine. So when we joined the party at Miss Lisa's house in Cuba, it's crazy how much you remember, man. But I had the white Mario cake. He had the black Mario cake. But we had 2 cakes and we made it work. But I mean, that's really all life was, man. What Nintendo games you got, man? What games you got? That was it. There was like almost like hunter-gatherer situation where you got exports of goods. We had video games. So you go to this kid's house or you talk to this kid in class, like, hey, what's up, man? What's your name? All right, I'm John. Okay, I'm Tommy. Hey, you got Nintendo? Actually, I got Super. You got Super Nintendo? Man, my mom won't buy me a Super Nintendo yet. You know, it was that was like the joy. You had like just that joy of that. Now, the people that I grew up around we weren't big on comics. So, you know, that comic shit wouldn't come until like later on, like for me as an adult, really. But for me, it was just Ninja Turtles, who also originated from comics, go figure. But like Ninja Turtles, like I said, wrestling. I mean, wrestling everything. They had the wrestling ice cream bars. Used to get those from the ice cream truck growing up. Miss those, man. I really, really miss those. Hogan was everything. When you hear that music hit, and you've never seen a child light up more, man. It's like, for WWF, it was like seeing Hogan. For WCW, it was seeing Sting for me. Like when Sting would just he would light it up. He would light it up for a little kid, man. Just wanted to be a wrestler. And Ultimate Warrior too. Ultimate Warrior was all energy. I'm talking about all energy. From the moment he hit the curtain till he get to the ring, he's running. And sometimes it would be like long entrances and stuff like that. So it'd be like, how the hell does he do that? I'm talking about full speed. Ultimate Warrior is at it. He's on the go. He is TTG, trained to go to get into the ring. And but that was excitement. I mean, that was nothing more exciting than to see your favorite wrestler win. You know, that's what we were programmed to believe back then. And is it because it was like the fairy tale age, the golden era, they call it, of wrestling, where you had the ultimate bad guy, so Sergeant Slaughter, sometimes Macho Man, sometimes the Big Boss Man, sometimes Earthquake, and you had the supreme superhero to the kids, which was Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan was he was everything. I mean, you name it, he had it. He had a cartoon. Rock and wrestling. There was that. There was, he did movies. No Holds Bar was one of my favorites as a kid. It is a horrible movie, by the way. So for people that really enjoy movies, do not watch No Holds Bar thinking that Hogan could have won an Oscar. No, he could have not. In my opinion, no, it's horrible. It's a horrible movie, but there's nostalgia connected to it. And it was fun, man. It was fun. Like I said, from a toy perspective, man, I had the best fucking childhood, and I stand on that. My parents would stand on that. Their bank accounts that stood on that. But I'm talking about just supreme joy. It was just a time. It was a simpler time, and I wanting to be in boy bands for sure. Again, this is all before thinking about girls, talking to girls, not even know what to say to them, and it would be like wanting to be in a boy band, not to get girls. It was more about just being in a boy band. So like New Edition, I wanted to be Ralph Tresvant and Ronnie, because Ronnie was light skinned like me, so I wanted to be he looked cool. I liked the way they dressed. And as big as Bobby was, I wasn't really the craziest Bobby fan. But looking back, I would have been a Bobby fan, knowing what I know now, because Bobby was the best dancer in the group, and I stand by that. I know Ronnie can get busy, but Bobby, man, Bobby would snatch your girl off of dancing on the dance floor. That's just how cold he was, man. And New Kids on the Block. I think I don't know why, but my mom bought me this book. I guess because I like like I said, I like the songs, The Right Stuff, Step by Step, I'll Be Loving You Forever. I had a tape that had I'll Be Loving You Forever on side A, and on side B was the instrumental. And I would run that bitch, so many times. But life before girls was just like, I got in less trouble. I'm sure my mom would agree to that. I got in less trouble when it came to not being involved with girls just yet. The most thing you would get me is probably not getting my way, not being able to get a video game when I wanted, not being able to get this wrestling man we saw in the stores, and that's really all it was. I would light up when my mom would say, "We're going to Walmart." Oh, we are? Okay. Wrestling men. That's what the fuck it meant. And sometimes Toys R Us. Those are certain things. You can have your Chuck E. Cheese, man. I didn't give a fuck about a Chuck E. Cheese. But Toys R Us is going down. KB Toy Stores is going down. I'm trying to think what else. If you're old enough to remember back in Virginia, when we moved there was a spot. This is long before GameStop was even big. It was called Funko Land. And Funko Land, you could go there, you could trade your old video games. And my mom hated that shit because of all the money she spent on that, and being like, that's all I'm getting for that? Because I turned in, I remember when I got a PlayStation. This makes me, 11, 12, something like that. I think it was 11 or 12. And no, yeah, it was 12. Or was it? Yeah, no, I was 11. And I heard about it from some kid in the neighborhood, I think, probably Darius. Darius had a whole bunch of information about shit, but he was I think he told me, it was one of us in our group in BG, had mentioned about Funko Land. And Funko Land, you could go there, you can trade games, the same way people do with GameStop now. I traded in everything I had for Super Nintendo, everything I had for Sega, to put towards getting games for the PlayStation 1 that I just got. I take that back. I was 13, because my PlayStation came with Game Day 98. But Game Day 98 would mean I would be in the 8th grade, I think. So yeah, I got a PlayStation 1 in 8th grade. So I would go to other people's houses for that. All right. So that's all life was, man. I wasn't really thinking about trying to be stylish for no girl. I even remember 5th grade, Florence Bowser, right? I'm in Miss Carey's class. Like I said, girls are the least on my mind and stuff like that. I don't even know what to do. I got anxiety. I'm shy. I talk to myself in class, all kind of weird things that little boys do. But as being the only child for so many years, there's like like a almost 8-year gap between me and my brother, you know, younger brother. So there's a lot of time spent alone. So I had invisible friends and stuff like that. And so I'm in class one day, and yeah, it's just, you know, that whole thing. Hey, this girl likes you, and my heart is racing fast because I really don't know what to say or do about it. But okay, cool, great. Well, do you like her? I don't know. I do not know, because I don't even know what these emotions are that is coming about of liking girl. What does that mean? What do you do? I'm not even thinking about like a kiss or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, my focus was, man, I wonder what code I can put in for Mortal Kombat 3, because Mortal Kombat 3 it came out in 5th grade, and I like, yo, what codes can I get to do like combos and, you know, fatalities and all that shit. That's where my head was. My mind before girls was all about video games, wrestling, and Ninja Turtles, and nothing else mattered. There'd be cartoons, there'd be movies and things, but I was that kid. I would watch Disney Channel shit, I would watch Nickelodeon shit. Like, as dope as Nickelodeon shows were, the commercials, my nigga, the commercials used to, I mean, when we were kids, whoever was working in marketing was a genius when it came to 90s commercials. Because Crossfire, I never got that game, but Google or YouTube, the commercial for Crossfire, like the little game or whatever. Shark Attack used to be a dope ass commercial. Mousetrap was a dope commercial. Operation, scariest fucking game for a kid. You hit that shit and it shocked the shit out of you. Yo, I played that game maybe once or twice. I was not a fan. I was a little bitch as a kid. Yo, anything loud noises used to scare the shit out of me. And but that was life, you know, honestly, before girls, before getting into dating and whatever I don't know if you want to call it. Yeah, I'll say I didn't really start dating per se until my 30s. But before that stuff, I was just going out to places with girls and stuff like that, because I didn't know the proper way of doing such. I didn't understand chivalry or any of that. It was like, well, let's just figure this thing out together. Most of the times, the girl I was seeing would coordinate whatever we were doing, which is the most beta shit to me. Again, it's nothing personal about anybody else. I'm referring to, for me, that wouldn't happen today. It wouldn't. Not like that. Now, I mean, in the sense of, like, I'm talking about she did every fucking shit from beginning to end, trips, all that shit, coordinated, crafted, know what we doing each night type thing, and that wouldn't happen today. But before talking to girls, before talking to women, there was Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, Splinter, and definitely April O'Neil. How do you feel about a woman you're dating having guy friends? Ooh, hot seat questions, man. Ears perked up, all of that, right? Okay, so here's my thoughts about women having guy friends. It depends. It really all depends, honestly. And what I mean by that, it's more like, it depends on the type of guy that he is, the type of woman that she is. There's a lot of factors that go into it as far as a woman having guy friends. And let me be very clear. I'm gonna do my best to put this in the best way that I know how about, you know, this. I got a girl I'm seeing, a woman I'm seeing having guy friends. I I really don't believe that men and women have that much in common to be like, I'll say just like true on, like just the way that I say the way that girls are friends with other girls is not the same way a girl is going to be friends with another guy unless he is gay, in my opinion. That's just my opinion on that. And what I'm saying is more so there's this dynamic shift where there is masculine energy and there is feminine energy. So if a guy is going to be friends with a girl and he is displaying the same feminine energy that he's around, you know what I mean? Like if that's the case, then yeah, sure. By all means, that's not nothing a factor. That's not even a cause for concern. But there are also the cases where some guys have faked acting like they're gay in order to get girls. There's a lengths, watch the movie Boat Trip. and you'll see that's the scenario. I mean, it's fiction, but I wouldn't put nothing past a guy. That's just me. Being a guy, seeing men throughout my life and all that stuff, I don't put nothing past it. And so there's a level of, I guess, trust that would have to be in the play, and are just removing it all together, and that's the whole thing for me. It's like not even putting yourself in that position if indeed it's like that. So, but as far as like a woman being friends with, like, for instance, like for work and shit like that, like in the Navy, girls. The girls that hang around guys in the Navy, man, like everybody's just all cool. They're just all ship based and stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's certain times where, yeah, there is something more going on. But for the most, I can honestly say from working with the Navy and seeing that, like everybody's just cool. And even with the people I worked with down at Homestead, we were very much a mixed bunch. There was more guys than girls that worked with us, but the girls that hung out with us, they were, please. My work sister would knock the shit out of you if one of us like tried to get with them, you know what I mean? Because it just wasn't like that for them, and they're just very, very, very. I got a very tough demeanor about them, and but if the way I see it, if a woman operates majority in her masculine and her having guy friends, sure, that's something that can be more believable. But if a woman is operating in her feminine and she has I'll say guy friends, that leaves room for shit to go down, in my opinion. And it's like you don't really recognize it until it's been programmed into for you to understand what that means for a woman operating in her feminine versus a man operating in like his masculine and shit like that. So it's almost like it's neutral. It's like true because when I say a woman operates in her masculine, she's like one of the guys. So naturally, that's just not attractive to men who operate in their masculine. You know what I mean? But obviously, for men who have more of that say the more operate more in their feminine, like the beta energy, sometimes that can lead to attraction. So it's a very slippery slope. I would listen to this a little bit more to really understand before you try to combat me on this theory that I have about a woman having guy friends. It'll make more sense once you understand the dynamics of what that means in the sense of the energy that's pushed out, the masculine energy versus the feminine energy. Because I'm sure that there's girls, and she could be the prettiest thing you've ever seen, and she's got these orbiters of men around them. But yeah, she might like the attention that she's getting from them, but she's not submitting to either. She does not feel safe enough to submit her leadership over to any of these men, these males, these boys, or whatever. But there's a certain type of energy that a woman she wants to, for sure, naturally wants to submit to. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, you can have friends, and it's certain conversations that just come up. There's a certain feeling, man, and until you go through it, until you realize really the dynamics of connection between the masculine and the feminine. And that can go either way. That can go for heterosexual, that can go for homosexual. But like, until you understand the dynamic of masculine energy to feminine energy, it's not gonna really make sense to you. And but I mean, my thoughts, like I said, it's very complex. It really all depends on the scenario. And so somebody, let's just say this. So like, if a lady I'm seeing, we're committed and whatnot and all of that, right? Even married and whatnot, and she makes a new male friend. Just don't work together, just being out at a bar type thing. First off, why you at the bar? Number two, like if you out with your friends and they're still single and you're the married one, you gotta be more mindful. And as far as like linking up, I don't believe there's any reason for that to go down that way. There's no cause unless they have a business, and even still, that's still questionable. It's just there's a judgment call with that about what we invite into our lives in that matter. You know what I mean? And that's the truth of the matter. A woman I'll say this, yeah, a woman that tends to put on a very standoffish thing, like a standoffish appearance about herself. I believe she can manage having male friends more than the one who tends to operate predominantly in the feminine, because it just generates a natural attraction to feminine and a woman versus the masculine of the man and shit like that. Like attraction, man. Attraction is it's interesting, right? It's very interesting. And just going around like creating new friends. Like I said, it's a slippery slope. As for me, would I, do I necessarily care for a woman having guy friends? No, not necessarily. But for somebody that they like grew up with, and it wasn't anything like that. It literally like families know each other and all that. Because I have a lot of that in my life. You know what I mean? And so to be a hypocrite and be like, nah, you're not gonna be able to rock with, like hang around him anymore. But they knew each other. They grew up, they grew up knowing each other through careers, through high school and middle school and all that other shit. Just like you know what I'm saying, like you knew each other. It's very cautious about how you run your frame as a man. And the objective is to protect the feminine, right? It's to protect the feminine. And sometimes protecting the feminine means sometimes removing things that are no longer of use. You know what I mean? And it depends on the type of relationship that it was. Like befriending ex-boyfriends and shit like that. Depending, like I said, it really depends on how recent, how many, like if kids are involved, that type of thing. But if y'all are not, if there's no connection there anymore, you guys broke up for a reason. Yeah, I don't really see the need, unless that's like y'all friend group. I believe y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just trying to narrow it down to and simplify this shit. But that's what I said. Like it really, really depends. It really does depend. Like the situation, as far as like the woman I'm seeing, or committed to, married to, whatever, having guy friends. It really would all depend. It would all depend. And it's like, what's the purpose? Is that person like genuinely invested, or are they snipers? They're waiting in the foxhole, for you to fuck up and then, yeah, slide right in. So when you love something, when you value something, you do your best to protect it, and not necessarily mate guarding, because that's, there's really not much you can do about that. A woman gonna do whatever it is that she chooses to do. Yeah, her having guy friends, it's not something to be like, hey, babe, I met this guy, his name's Barney or whatever, and we got we became friends. Based on what? Y'all work together? Nope. Y'all know anybody together? Nope. So why would that be something that would even transpire? Is the question. You know what I'm saying? Why do you require any? Let's say new friends per se. But you know, again, that's all about where interest is. You know what I mean? A lot of us had a lot of trauma, so attention seeking comes out in various forms. Speaking from experience, attention seeking come out in various forms, and it's just like meeting new people or what have you. And so I say again that it very much is like it depends. You know, if you guys work together is one thing, and it's just about the conversation, how it's being, you know, how that conversation is even coming about. If there's like a strong friend group or something like that, you guys all grew up together, respect. You know what I mean? I have women in my life that are literally like the sisters I've never had. You know, and I wouldn't dare trade them for the world, because I understand where to keep them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just been that bond. Like, it ain't even like that. It's literally just like being around, because it is family. It's chosen family, and people, like I said, people we knew from the military. People that you know, we all grew up to. We essentially grew up together, and there was never anything like that. You know. I'm sure at one point in time, you know, when guys get together, you look at the girls that's in your shop or something like that, and you guys might have a conversation, but none of us, especially back then, being as beta as I was, would never execute on that deal because too afraid of rejection, number one. But to even go forth with that, it's just recognizing like there's we know the difference. You know the difference, man, and it's all about it just boils down to who you're choosing to be in that relationship with, as far as that woman goes, where she's befriending, like you just happen to notice all these new, like these guys, these new names of guys and shit like that keep popping up that she never really mentioned before, and y'all been talking for like a minute. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, keep note in the back of your mind. And then also time and schedule, and that's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if indeed she has genuine burning desire for you, she's going to prioritize you. But if she's like, nope, I actually made plans with Dennis today. I actually made plans with Eric. I made plans. Yeah, quietly remove yourself from the situation is where I would be with that, because there's only so much of you. You know what I mean? Especially at this point in our lives, you know, being 40 and stuff like that, and people around our age. So, priority. I think it just varies. You know, I would say the main thing to pull from my response about this question is like, it really just depends. It solely depends on the dynamic. You know, as far as a woman having guy friends that I'm seeing, and it's, you know, do they work together? And you know, is it simply just about that? Is it like again, the friend group and all that shit? You know what I mean? Is it like, is she friends with, you know, like one of your homies that's his girlfriend or something like that? You know, it becomes, there's a difference when there's like the free agency and then there's your tribe, if that makes sense. And the ones, and we all know the difference between the people that are in the free agency in our mind and those who are a part of the tribe. So it's not something that we really need to kind of, you know, play stupid on, gaslight, if you will. You know, for real, about the ones that are definitely open for attack, and then the ones that are a part of the tribe and the family, and it's keeping a fine line in between that. But that's my thoughts on seeing a woman and having guy friends. Pettiest thing I stopped talking to a girl for? More than likely, it was because she ate off my plate, and we kind of just met each other. That was like, and this is my 20s, you know what I mean? This is my 20s. This is back where you were not touching my lobster and shrimp linguine from Bahama Breeze. I didn't care who the fuck you were. So for a stranger to reach across and reach for one of the shrimp on my plate was not about to go down. So looking back, you know, I can laugh at it and be like, man, that's fucking petty as hell. But that was probably the pettiest thing that I stopped talking to a girl about that I can remember in the 20s. Of the music you love, what's been your favorite catalog to explore? Now, the music I love, number one is Michael, for sure. Michael, New Edition. And we can cut the deck. Like, there's nobody else gets that close. And 80s Janet, 80s Janet. 80s Michael, I say Michael, all-time Michael, whatever. It didn't matter what decade it was. The New Edition, specifically Heartbreak album, that's just like one of my first albums ever. And then 80s Janet. 80s Janet is untouchable, bro. Untouchable. So like between Control and Rhythm Nation, and Rhythm Nation is really more like that's 90. That's 1990. But she did some stuff in 89. You get the point. But like anytime Janet has ever hooked up with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, it has been phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, Come Back to Me is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. I would put it up there close to A Human Nature. That's how much I love that record. Come Back to Me. Let's Wait a While. Those two in particular. Those are probably my two favorite Janet songs of all time. And then, it's not really her record, but Making Love in the Rain, Herb Alpert featuring Janet. And I forget the other young lady that was on that record. But those and they're all produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Like whenever Janet and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis hooked up, it was a problem. They made so many hits, man. Tender Love, you know, like they produced Tender Love. They produced You Remind Me by Usher. They produced Human by the Human League. Their catalog is insane. But if there was a catalog of music that I enjoyed, like exploring, just like from not knowing, it is a toss between like easy listening. So, you know, your Frank Sinatra, big band. So Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, that type of, you know, flow or whatever in music, and then disco. Disco was fun to explore because it's like, all right, this sound, every sound has, you know, is the kick hits on the one and the, you know, on the one and the nine. You know what I mean? For those who understand, like using Reason and stuff like that for, you know, for like producing. But like disco had strings, disco had, you know, horns, but it was just various sounds of disco. Like disco, the whole point of disco is to get you on the dance floor, right? And it was of its time, and it came with an attire, you know, bell bottoms, you know what I'm saying? The platform shoes. There was, you know, the afro. There was a sense of freedom that came about during that time frame, and in style, you had to be stylish, bro, and you had to know what to do. Like if you didn't know how to do the hustle, that's what I'm saying. Like I enjoyed, you know, being young and just at that time wanting to be validated, so trying to act like I was, you know, a part of like disco and shit. But I loved the sounds of it. I mean, it was so many artists that I gravitated towards, mainly Casey and the Sunshine Band, though. Casey and the Sunshine Band, I'm Your Boogeyman, Do You Want to Go Party, Shake Your Booty. There was just, That's the Way, I Like It, Boogie Shoes. Casey just had it. He just had it, man. And I mean, talking about huge huge records, just playing over and over again. I love that pop, that really was like that pop sound. You know what I mean? Like it was different, you know, because obviously the kids my age are listening to whatever hip hop and R&B that's playing on 103 Jams and Z104, but because of the fact that my mom really didn't want me playing the music that was playing on the radio in the house because of, you know, it had curse words and shit in it, I would go through my dad's music collection. And I remember going through like the disco records, and I was like, oh, this shit hit. And just like making songs for the discos, like you, like a time frame where you had to know how to dance to get to the, you know, to talk to a woman. And that was, and they personified that in, I would say, like 70s, and dare I say a little bit more into the 80s, like Heat Wave, you know what I mean? Like Heat Wave being a part of that disco sound, groove line. That was something that my father would play all the time. You know, it was just you know, the intro. Rod Temperton made some of the best songs for disco for Heat Wave, and I would just, I get lost. I would get lost in just I would get lost in Boogie Nights and Groove Line. There were there was just so many records that I really did enjoy. I love to be able to play, to say that, hey, you know, I knew this record, so that I can kind of, you know, fit in essentially with like my parents, trying to be in their grown folk conversation when it comes to music. Like, oh, like, what you know about that? Oh, I know about that. You know, them dumbass conversations when you're trying to be validated for attention seeking and shit. But music, man, the easy listening, Frank Sinatra for sure. And that got started because I was producing. Me and a good friend of mine, Steve Chubbs, you know, one of my best friends, you know, from the Air Force. He had a studio set up in his dorm room, and this is about 2007 when we met, right before I'm about to get out. And we met just being in the dorms, and found out that we both, you know, like produce music. But him a hell of a lot more advanced than I ever seen. You know, he knew, I mean, he was connected in the industry and on a lot of things. But we were doing a song where we sampled My Funny Valentine by Frank Sinatra. And I was like, yo, I actually like the sound, so I'm gonna go home and listen to it so I can try to come up with my own things to cut in it. But then I started to develop a liking of, you know, My Funny Valentine, That's Life, of course, you know, New York, and then I came across watching Goodfellas, and then Tony Bennett song Rags to Riches plays in the beginning. And then I was like, shit, I like this song. So then that started opening up his catalog. And then I realized that I really do love Tony Bennett's music. So it's just, and it's so calm. You know what I'm saying? Like, these cats are just so smooth. They're just so calm on a record. And I just took a liking to it. It was something I used to drift away to when I would leave work. And when I lived in, we were working in Homestead, but I lived in Kendall. Kendall's like a 20-minute drive or 25-minute drive. So I would get off of work, and the first thing I would do, I would play One for My Baby and One More for the Road by Frank Sinatra. And I used to go to sleep and keep it on random. You know, they were the first two in my sleep mix, Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra. I would just, you know, go to sleep with that on random. And then I started adding Kenny G, and then I added Adele, and then I added Lena Horne, and then I added Duke Ellington and Ella Fitzgerald, and it just became a thing, you know. Glenn Miller. I would just go down this rabbit hole of easy listening music, something that it just sounded like it was from the 40s, the 50s, and just really calm and crooning, you know. And so between the disco and the easy listening, I was captivated. Honestly, I was just captivated by it. Now, of course, like R&B, rap, I would listen to those, but it was more about trying to be validated by my peers. I would say that when I listened to disco, when I listened to easy listening, I was listening to that because it's something I actually enjoyed, you know, for myself, not trying to be validated by anybody. and well, partly disco because I told y'all about that earlier with my daddy, and you know, trying to be closer with him and with a sense of like listening to his music. But also classical. Classical was another genre of music that I really fell into and quite enjoyed. I'll be honest, I quite enjoyed classical still to this day. That's like a more recent thing. That's like when I started college, so 2011, when I was in Pope, I had a class, music appreciation 131. Miss Morgan was our professor, and she was like, you could better your study habits by listening to Mozart. Mozart helped people increase like their GPA, and it made you more intelligent. Okay, fine. So I'm going to study because I'm afraid to fail. That's really why I didn't go to school. I didn't go to college because I was afraid that I wouldn't live up to the name of college and all that stuff. But then I started to study with Mozart, and sure enough, I would get grades that I hadn't. If my mom and the person I was in high school saw these grades that I was getting in college, like these are not the same people. I did not take, I learned at that moment that I wasn't taking school seriously because it came so natural to me to actually knock that out. But that's where I started exploring with classical and Mozart. And then from Mozart, it became to Beethoven. Then it went to Bach. And then it went to Chopin, however you pronounce the shit. And a list of other composers. And then, of course, going into modern day composers, Danny Elfman, John Williams, and just a bunch of just classical in general, just strings, being in love with strings. And I just love music, really. But I would say those were the catalogs. I'd say classical, disco, and easy listening really were the ones that I enjoyed the most exploring, just the way I felt listening to that stuff. And it didn't require anybody's validation. It was just something for me. And yeah. Still enjoy listening to all three of those, to be honest. But that about wraps this one up. So I want to thank you guys again for rocking on this journey of this episode. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. But I'm Roman Mac. This is S. Rome. And I'm out. Good night, kids.